Phillies lose this one to the Chicago Cubs at 10-2. Welcome in a post-game live presented by Curado Insurance. Ben Davis, Ashlyn Sullivan here with you. It is very rare for the Phillies to lose a game and to lose it in this fashion. This game ties the worst loss of the season all the way back to the second game of the season against the Braves. That's the only other time, and you're left wondering what happened here, Ben.
It was one of those days, Ashlyn. Nothing went right for the Phils today, especially Cristopher Sánchez. Not a whole lot went right for their offense. Just one of those days. One game of 162. You got to just wipe the slate clean and get to Atlanta and kind of forget this one ever happened. But they did take 2 out of 3, which is a good thing for the Phils, and they move on. It was, it was just one of those days. It
really was, and you got to watch it quickly because they have a game tomorrow night against the Atlanta Braves. So a quick turnaround here as we go back to Chicago and check in with Ruben Amaro Jr., who is there on call for Phillies and Cubs. And Ruben, we talk about Cristopher Sánchez, talk about the difference in June to the first thing we saw in July. Almost a little bit like he came back down to earth today.
Yeah, it wasn't a great day for him, obviously. Coming off that complete game shutout against the Miami Marlins. And, I was kind of curious as to see how he would bounce back from that. A lot of pitches, threw a ton of strikes. But in this game, he certainly struggled with his command. In the first and third innings, he was okay. But the second and fourth innings really struggled to be able to command pretty much all of his pitches. He went through some stretches where that changeup was working well for him. But overall, he just was not hitting his spots, and it was a tough day for him. And hopefully, he can just, let it go and bounce back in another 5 days or so.
Ruben, what I thought was somewhat of a bright spot, I know Sir Anthony gave up that home run to Happ. Happ had himself a day. But overall, 2 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts. At times, he looked unhittable today, and they're going to need him going down the line, aren't they?
They sure are, and he didn't come out of the chute like he was ready. Like that very first pitch almost hit the bull. I guess it almost threw it behind the hitter, but and then he hung that one slider to Happ for the home run. But after that, 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. He has electric stuff, and he has been pitching better. But when he comes out of the bullpen in those situations, he's going to have to try to shut things down. Didn't help his buddy out today. With all those earned runs after that home run, tacked on a couple of earned runs for Cristopher Sánchez, but he did right the ship a little bit and was really firing after that.
He was, and really the only other positive in this game was Nick Castellanos with that home run, his 12th of the season, a guy that a couple weeks ago was a little streaky, seems to be getting a bit more consistent lately.
Yeah, Ashlyn, and I'm glad we're staying positive for a change. That's very nice on a game that's pretty tough. But yeah, Castia has been swinging the bat very, very well, and they need him. And we've talked about it almost all season long. The first month and a half, 2 months, really a struggle for him. But at some point, these veteran guys, they'll start playing to the back of that baseball card. And he's certainly been swinging the bat very well, and a lot more consistently as of late. Hopefully, continue to do that and be headed that way when some of the other big boys come back into this lineup.
Ruben, you still think that the Phils need another piece in the outfield to produce offensively?
In a perfect world, you never have perfect teams. It's hard to build like the perfect team, but I guess in the perfect world, it'd be great to add maybe a bullpen piece and perhaps somebody from the right side that I think that can help complement Brandon Marsh, who's been struggling a little bit. I do believe that I thought that this was going to be the year where Brandon Marsh would be taking that next step forward as an everyday player, being able to handle righties and lefties. But he has struggled at times, and I think if you really want to bear down and try to put yourself in a position to be as perfect a team as you can possibly be, perhaps a right-handed bat in the outfield, that would certainly help.
Basically just took the life out of the Phillies there in the 4th inning, and you just talk about the difference for Cristopher Sánchez. June was his month. We were so excited to see this first start in July to see what happens, and just such a drastic swing of events.
Yeah, you know how he didn't have his stuff? It tells you right here. 3 ground ball outs. That's it. 3 ground ball outs, 3 punch outs, 2 fly outs. He just wasn't, just don't see him miss in the fashion that he was missing today. Go sinkers away. He was missing. Garrett Stubbs having to reach all the way across his body. Sinkers in glove side. He was just pulling them down and into the righties. He just didn't have it today, and it just almost looked like the worse it got, the harder he tried, and then he was really hold on to that ball even longer and missing even by more extremes. But it is one of those games. It's one of 30 starts that he'll make this year, and hopefully he can just right the ship next time. And it's just they've been so good. You just don't expect this, Ashlyn. And it's almost like we're up in the newsroom watching it in disbelief, like, this can't happen. This dude just went out and shoved his last outing, 9 innings. And, he just didn't have it today. It's a shame it happens, but you move on.
Back to Chicago to check with manager Rob Thomson.
Sanchez just didn't have it today, huh?
Yeah. I attribute it to the complete game, really. Okay. It takes its toll on you. So a complete game, especially a guy that's never been in a 9th inning before. So he gets an extra day the next time, and he'll be good to go.
The velo was down a little bit.
A little bit, and getting ahead. He wasn't getting ahead like he normally does. I didn't think he did throw some good changeups, but it wasn't as consistent as it normally is. He'll be fine.
Do you think about pulling him after 4?
I did, but I wanted him to go because he gave up the 5 runs in the 4th. I want him to go out and hopefully end on a good note. And his pitch count was going to be like 90 max today anyway, no matter what, because I was going to pull him back a little bit. So ended up, I think, with 79, something like that. So, he'll be fine.
Is that just kind of like part of being a manager, sending a guy back out there for the 9th inning last time versus?
Sure, but you got to let guys achieve some goals, as long as it's within reason. And I thought it was last time. It was 101 pitches or something, 9 innings. So it's not a big pitch count, but the 9 ups takes its toll on you.
It's been, I think, like 96 days or something since you've seen the Braves.
Yeah.
A lot has changed since then. Are you curious to see how you stack up, or how do you look at this weekend? Because you do go in with a pretty big lead. It's not kind of do or die.
Well, it's like any series, I think. You're looking to go in and win a series, just like we did here. So, but yeah, they're a good club. They are. They got good pitching, and I know that everybody talks about how their offense hasn't clicked yet, but I mean, they got good offense. They got a powerful team. So we got our hands full, and just go get them.
What made you go Soto in the 9th as opposed to maybe like Ruiz?
Just he's had a couple days off. And what I'm trying to do with Soto is keep running him out there as much as I can, because I think he pitches better when he pitches more. And he didn't pitch all that badly. I mean, Sir Anthony was really good. Marte gave up a couple of soft hits. He walked a guy, but Sir Anthony, after he hung that slider to Happ, he pitched really well. And the second inning was about as good as I've seen him all year. So.
What did you think of Happ? I mean, Happ just hit a couple mistakes.
Yeah, hit a couple mistakes. He can hit, So I said the other day, I said, just try to get out of here before these guys get hot, because they got good offense.
What was that mound visit with Soto about?
Because they got up 8. Okay, so I can go to a position player, so I didn't want to take him out. I just want to remind him that he didn't have many pitches left, because I want to make sure he's available for tomorrow. But that runner at third base is his run, and goes on his ERA if I bring in a position player. So,
Regardless of what happened today, you think Sanchez has done enough to make the All-Star team?
I think so, absolutely.
Why? I mean, can you put into words why you think?
Just it's really good ERA, strike throwing ability, pitcher of the month. I mean, it's just quality, and he's been consistent all year. Throw this one out.
Yes, he is, especially when you look at what the Phillies offense was able to do against him today, which is not much. And really, when you look at this, Nick Castellanos is really the only guy that stands out.
It is. And you look at the first inning, and you see Trey Turner gets on with a knock, and then he steals second base. That is a very strong positive in the fact the way he was running the bases today. And then he scores on a Brandon Marsh 2-out knock. And that's it. That's what we were talking about in the newsroom, how this guy can beat you in so many different ways, Trey Turner. This guy is so stinking fast. I'd love to watch the guy slide, first and foremost. But he can just beat you in so many different ways. He hits 2 homers the other night, and then today he beats you with his legs in that first inning. He's just such a dynamic player, and to watch him play is really fun to watch. And you're thinking, okay, they get off that 1-0 lead. Castellanos goes up top, makes it 2-0. Thinking, all right, they're going to get to Tyone here a little bit. It just didn't happen.
It didn't, and especially when you look at that lineup and you look at outfield, not a lot going on there. And I so see the argument of, what do you do now? Do you need to get an additional bat? But you also see the argument of getting Brandon Marsh more reps. So what's the answer?
I truly think, in my heart of hearts, obviously Castellanos is going to play every day, but I just think that Brandon Marsh needs to play every day himself. And if they can't go out and acquire somebody, and this is no knock on Rojas or Pache, but these guys just are not producing with any type of slug offensively. And if they can find somebody, some right-handed bat out there, they can go out. Luis Robert Jr., somebody. I mean, that guy's been hot as a firecracker. But what's it going to cost you? Is it going to deplete your minor leagues? I know they really want to win a championship this year, but I think in order to do so, they have to get some more offensive production out of their outfielders. And Castellanos is starting to heat up. That's a very good sign. I just think Brandon Marsh needs to be in there every day, see what he can do. He definitely hits against righties, but you're only going to see if he can hit against lefties if he gets those reps.
Right.
But they need somebody else out there.
Yes, they do. And now we look at the standings as the Phillies are still 8.5 games ahead of the Atlanta Braves. But of note, Atlanta is playing tonight as the Phillies get ready to go to Atlanta to take on the Braves. Interesting that this is the only time they've played Atlanta in Atlanta this season. But these teams look very different than the last time they faced, but this is still a massive series coming up.
It is a huge series, and they'll be definitely going in there with at least an 8 game lead tonight. Right? I'm sorry, without a 9 game. It could be a 9 game lead depending on what they do tonight, but it'll definitely be at least an 8 game lead. But yeah, every game counts, and this is a Braves team. You don't want to say, whoa, they're so good, they're so good. They are a really good ball club. I know they're missing a couple key pieces, but they're going to fight, they're going to battle. They still have a very good lineup and a good starting rotation, so nothing's going to be over after this 3 game series, that's for sure.